What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to give my final thoughts and impressions on Mafia Definitive Edition before the game releases. It releases very, very soon, obviously, right? Just 2.5 weeks. You can maybe stretch it to almost 3 weeks, right? September 25th comes out, part of the Mafia trilogy. Also, obviously, you can buy it all on your own, and we're going to just talk about kind of summing up all the stuff I've said about this game leading into it. Now, really quickly, before I jump in, and you guys have been a really big help with this, and I'm really happy that you guys have supported me in this way. I really do appreciate it. I do have a second channel. It's called Podcast Now Plus. The link for it's in the description below. I cover, things over there that I also talk about here. Also try some experimental stuff on that channel as well. I've covered Mafia. I'm going to be covering Mafia more on that channel as well as we go through the next couple weeks. If you guys haven't checked it out, haven't subscribed, it would mean a lot to me if you did. The link for it is in the description below. So this is not, there's nothing paid. They didn't tell me to talk about this. And again, this is just kind of something that I wanted to do. I've done it before with a lot of games. Try and just sum up all of my thoughts leading into this game. I want to do a video talking about my review predictions. I love talking about reviews and what I think the review scores are going to be. So we're going to talk about that. There's going to be loads of videos on Mafia as we go through again the next 2.5 weeks. And when the game comes out, there'll be even more. So I'm pumped. I'm really, I think that's the best word I could probably use for this. I'm excited. IGN, I think, and even by the time I'm recording this, IGN, I think, did a poll of all of these remakes. And Mafia, to me, you look at like Kingdoms of Amalur, and there's a couple other, games that are coming out that are remakes, remastered, whatever you want to call them. You could even throw in games that are kind of rumored that aren't even formally announced in terms of like Mass Effect. Now, I'm excited for a lot of them, but Mafia is one that I just really am so pumped for as we go. I've talked actually even about Marvel's Avengers, and don't hate me for saying this if you guys like Avengers, but I've always kind of said that all I really need for this game is to get me through 3 weeks. Avengers came out this past Friday. For those that bought the normal, the base edition, right? Came out this past Friday. All I needed to do is survive for 3 weeks. That's all I need, because then in 3 weeks, Mafia comes out, and then after Mafia is all of these other games: Crash, Star Wars Squadrons, NHL. I'm a big fan of the NHL games. So, I'm going to be busy, and I'm going to have other games. That's all I really need from Avengers and then the DLC. But it's because Mafia is a game that I'm just so ready to jump into. I've seen, I've made videos, I should say, on the positives of this game, the things I'm really excited for, some of the negatives, the things that I'm a little bit worried about this game. And I've seen also your comments too on a lot of these things. Look, and I kind of want to address at least one of them: the open world. When I said that I want this game to do an open world and I want it to be good, basically the only thing I was saying with that, or the only thing I'm coming, at this game with that is I don't expect this game to be a GTA or Red Dead where there's 30,000 side things to do and you get just engrossed in all these different things, and you get distracted from the main story. I get that Mafia has always kind of been timepiece games, and actually they're one of the very few games that do this, that set it in a time period, very grounded story, very timepiece sensitive, and it's an open world, but not but not really, where it's really still kind of directing you and you just go, and that's fine. The only thing I want with this open world is I do want it to feel like something's always happening. And when I say something's always happening, again, I don't mean that I want 1,000 side missions where it's distracting. All I mean is I want the world to feel lived in. I want things to be going on. I want, obviously cars and people on the streets and just stuff like that. I want a populated, living, breathing world. And I think you're able to do that even if, again, like the side mission kind of thing isn't its main focus. To be quite honest with you, that's kind of the main concern I have. The gameplay, look, the Mafia games, in my opinion, have never had all that great gameplay. Even Mafia 3, it was maybe the best part of that game, but it wasn't, in my opinion, that big of a deal. And I mean, a thing to note too is I am a big fan of gameplay. I think gameplay can make or break a game, but I feel like gameplay is very, very dependent on the kind of game. Some games get carried by the gameplay. Some games get destroyed because it's got bad gameplay. Some games can be carried by its story, and you can, you know what I mean? Like, you can be okay with the gameplay even though it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, you'll put up with it, basically. So when it comes to gameplay, look, it looks solid. The animations, the visuals, all that stuff is so good, and we'll talk about that in just a second. And I think that even if the gameplay sucks, I feel like there'll still be and that's actually what I'm hoping. Even with, again, we talked about the preview kind of event that the media was able to have with this game, and they talked about about the driving, how the driving is pretty weird, and that there is that race car mission that's pretty darn difficult and kind of annoying. Like, that would be annoying, and it will be annoying, but at the end of the day, it's one section, and once we get by it, it's over. You know what I mean? And I think we can put up with it if the story is good enough. Ultimately, it just comes down to that, and it's kind of funny to be talking. That's why I don't really often talk about the story or the characters or stuff like that, and the main reason is, like, the game's already out. You guys already know, and I know a lot of people that watch these Mafia videos, honestly, they're very different than the group that normally watches a lot of we do have crossover, but a lot of you guys are very different. Some of you guys are actually a lot older than maybe the group that I normally have for my video, and it's awesome. I love having you guys. I hope you guys stick around even past, when Mafia comes out, maybe for future Mafia games, for future Hangar 13 games. I really do love having you guys, but a lot of you guys know the story. You know the characters, you know where they're going, you know the love interest, all that kind of stuff. I don't. So I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want it to get spoiled for me. And that is one of the main excitements I think I have for this game, is because I sometimes I'll care about an ending, sometimes I won't. You look at even Marvel's Avengers. I was excited for that game. I'm recording this before I'm able to play it, so I am excited for this game. But I saw the ending. I know what the ending is. I know, where the game's going to be going in the future. I really don't care all that much, because to me, the story, while I think could be really solid, and I think it actually is solid, it's just there, and I'm mainly playing it to experience it all kind of together, experience it with friends, experience it with people online. You know what I mean? So some games I care about the story, some games I don't care as much. Mafia is a game I care. I really want to be engrossed in the story. I really want to see where it's going to go. And again, people already know where it's going. And then my main draw with that, or the main reason why I'm doing that, is probably because of Mafia 2. Everybody told me Mafia 2's story is so good, give it a chance, like just let it take you. And I did, and I loved it. Mainly the second half. First half was very, very slow, but once it got going, the story is very good, with very, very good characters and very good acting and all that stuff. So I'm expecting the same thing with hopefully it doesn't start slow, but I'm expecting the same thing with this game. I want a really good story, and I feel like that's maybe another reason too. I love story games. I love games to tell really good stories. The Last was Part 2, obviously, was very divisive, it divided a lot of people. Ghost of Tsushima was another kind of story game. The story kind of gets lost sometimes in open world games. This is the first, in my opinion, story game in quite some time, like a brand new story game in a couple months that I've played. So I'm really ready to jump into that. And then again, what can you really say that hasn't been said about the visuals, about all that kind of quality? The game still could be, there could be frame rate, there could be issues with that. Like, we'll have to see when the game comes out, but I really don't think this is going to be like the Mafia 2, remaster, where that was probably one of the worst remasters ever, put out. This one, it is Mafia in 2020. It looks absolutely incredible. It really, again, the open world stuff feeling like it is. It's a set piece game, and it feels like it, and it looks like it, and all of that stuff. I'm so impressed with all of the visuals, all the small details in that game. I want a Mafia 4. I still want a Mafia 4. Hopefully this game does good, because they've already actually confirmed in interviews that if this game does good, sells well for them, they'll make a Mafia 4. So that's very exciting. That's something that we should all very much keep in mind. I wanted a Mafia 4. I wanted that before I wanted these games remastered or remade. Before I even knew about that, I wanted a Mafia 4. And here we are now, and it's like, this is basically a Mafia for 2020, so I really have no problems with that. I'm just so ready to go with this game. I don't know how long this game is. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I'm ready to sit down that Friday, that September 25th, and play it. Take 2, 3, 4 days, however long it takes, go through the whole thing and just fully, experience the full thing. So I'm very, very pumped for this game. It's one of my most looked forward to games of the year. I really am. I just haven't talked about them, but I really am excited for so many games in October, even November. There's going to be a lot of really amazing games, but Mafia really is towards the top of my list. And in terms of, if I had to say all of the games coming out from now on until the end of this year, Mafia would probably be in my top 3. Maybe it would be pushed a little bit, but really this is such an exciting game that I can't wait to play. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Are you excited for this game? Are you ready for it? Let me know. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a predictions video for the review. I'm going to be having a couple other topics for Mafia as we go through here, and then when the game comes out, I'll play it, we'll live stream it, I'll have videos on it, I'll do a review on it, all that that kind of stuff. There's going to be a lot of Mafia Definitive Edition content, and then hopefully the game sells well, and hopefully we get future games, okay? So I really am hoping for that. Make sure you guys are subscribed, have the bell icon turned on, and I will see you all on the next video.